The Rogue is Nissan's best-selling non-car by a country mile, the backbone of their crossover and SUV business. Let's find out why and check the tech.
Quick refresher course on where the Rogue sits in the Nissan lineup. It's the second smallest of their crossovers, the smallest being the Juke with the crazy frog eyes. This one has more of a conventional look. It's still on its first generation, but on the market since 2008. It's a two-row crossover on a car-based platform. Now let's get inside. Now the first thing you notice when you get in the 2013 Rogue SV is, what is that? Oh, it's a navigation system. Isn't that cute? I thought it was a bug when I first got in. 5-inch LCD touchscreen, but in spite of its small size, which does make it hard to get a lot of detail on there, they've done a good job of getting touchscreen buttons on there. Here's the map mode, for example. When you hit menu, look how nice and big those buttons are. Of course, it obliterates the map at the time that you're doing input, but at least they give you a good finger landing space. Same thing goes for entering a destination. Look how fast this goes. This is pretty good stuff. Now you get a little bit of a delay when it's reading intensively from the SD card. That's where the navigation system lives, but don't be fooled. This isn't like a Ford system where you can decide to get the SD card or not. It all comes in the package with this navigation head unit. So why they even expose that thing, I don't know. It's just really for updates later, but it'd be nice to see that thing hidden because some kid's going to play with it and lose it or stick it in their nose. You know. And once you do zoom in on something or start getting navigation guidance, it optimizes the screen pretty well to show you just what you want, but I can't get past the claustrophobic feeling of that little dinky display. That Bluetooth system, by the way, is only for hands-free calling. You don't have that streaming among your audio options, which are AM, FM, no HD radio, sat radio as well, 3 months included. That's also where your traffic for the nav rig comes from. I have an iPod USB connector in here as well, which will take thumb drives or any Apple device. Here's your menu for the iPod. It's clean and simple. Response is pretty quick, and I appreciate the large typeface, which does wonders when you're driving and want to grok something quickly and get your eyes back on the road. Now, we've got a rear view camera. It also comes in our SL package. It comes in other lower trim Rogues as well, but not standard. Now, you can see I'm looking at the back, and I'm also looking out of a mirror camera, which should tip you off that we have something else here. We have an around view monitor. Front, back, and mirror cams stitched together in a Nissan Infiniti manner to show me a bird's eye view of my own car. The only problem is the resolution's crap, and here's where that small screen really starts to punish me. That's not a useful overview. I'm sorry. It's just too much real estate in too small a piece of real estate. The transmission on this car is one choice only across all Rogues, and that is Nissan's CVT, continuously variable transmission. There's no shifting gate, there are no cogs, that's why. No paddles either. We're going to check this one out on the road in just a few moments, but let's go see what puts power into it. Now, all Rogues have the same motor, a 2.5-liter side saddle 4 with no particularly novel technology in there, but it's a good old durable Nissan mill from who knows how long ago. You're going to get 170 horsepower, 175 foot-pounds of torque out of this vehicle, so it's clearly tuned for grunt and not maximum speed, which makes sense in a vehicle like this that has to get through the air with kind of a biggish profile. Front-wheel drive, what we have here. All-wheel drive's available as well. Still the same gearbox no matter what you do. Your 0 to 60 on the front wheel drive is about 8.5 seconds. No speed demon, but sprightly, as they might say. MPG 2328 if you have front wheel drive. You drop down to 2226 with all wheel drive. Now, the Rogue drives like you think it would drive. It's kind of small and easy and light, and nothing about it is laborious. Pretty good visibility. I always like to check that out in cars these days because it usually is crap. But in this case, they've carved out some rather useful rear quarter windows that give you a little more, not much, but a little more indication of what you're about to steer into. And generally speaking, the greenhouse is kind of high and flat. The screen is not only small, but it's also very low. Most car makers are pushing those up to be closer to your eye line, at least your gauge eye line. This one's not even close, which is another nag I've got about it. Now, in terms of driving this vehicle, one thing that annoys me is the steering wheel does go up and down. It doesn't telescope, though. So it sticks out here like the end of a broom handle, and that just never allowed me to get really comfortable. But the biggest issue I've got is with the engine-transmission relationship of this vehicle. Normally I like Nissan's CVTs. They're the only company I think that really gets them right, where they don't feel vague and slippery all the time. Except in this car. This one's starting to feel vague and slippery. When you really get on it, there's an awful lot of kind of wind up and what feels like slip, but is really continual gear ratio evolution as you're driving. It feels less like it has gears, and that's not really a good thing to most drivers. As a result, like coming off a stop here, there's kind of muted engine response, and then once it does come on, it comes on too late and too much, kind of that rubber bandy yo-yo effect. It sort of mutes the engine's responsiveness. And I know this is a good motor, 175 foot-pounds of torque. I can do a lot with that, but not when it's going through a slip box. So I feel like Nissan has slipped a little in their CVT engineering or programming. Okay, let's price this 2013 Rogue. We have an SV, which is the better base, and we've added SL, which is the CNET Tech Lovers package. Here's how the pricing looks. You're damn near $27,000 for an SV front-wheel drive. Add $1,300 for all-wheel drive. Then add a chunky $3,900 for the SL package. But you're going to want to do that because that's where all the goodies are. For example, that navigation system, the rear camera and around view monitor, the Bose audio with the fancy flat panel subwoofer, all kinds of heating and power leather seats, all the stuff you want. It's a big buy-in, but you can't do much a la carte on this vehicle.